Hi guys, we're going to talk today about programming and coaching core stability exercises. What you'll find a lot of people do is they categorize their core stability training into anterior core, so the ability to resist extension, rotary stability, so your ability to resist that rotation, maybe lateral core where you're resisting lateral flexion, and obviously exercises like squats and deadlifts are going to be more posterior core, meaning the ability to resist you rounding over as you go into a deeper position of hip flexion. So, I think these are great classification schemes and we use them ourselves, but I think it's also very important that to realize that just because you're working in one plane doesn't mean you're not stabilizing in other planes. So if we're going to take an example of a basic deadlift pattern, if somebody deadlifted and they had a big hip shift as they got to the bottom, we wouldn't just allow that to happen. Instead, what we would do is we would say, hey, we're cognizant of that sagittal plane, but we need to make sure that there aren't frontal plane compensations taking place. So this kind of originated with one of our athletes last week who was doing a wide stance anti-rotation chop. And we asked him, where are you feeling this? And we want him to say, anterior core, I want to feel it in the front, resist that rotation. He's like, yeah, I'm just feeling it in the back, which means he was taking a rotary stability exercise, and instead he was kind of hanging out on the back side of his spine and really jamming up on both those soft tissue and bony restraints. So when we do an exercise like a wide stance anti-rotation chop, obviously the intention is to create good rotary stability and not have that rotation kick in at his lower back as he's out here. But we also want to be cognizant of correcting for any extension-based faults. So if we saw Ryan really arching his back here, we want to make sure we correct that, get him a little bit more posteriorly tilted at his pelvis. The other thing that Ryan has a tendency has a kind of a pattern that kicks in is he creates his extension fault by shifting his head forward. So for him, we want to bring him back into that packed neck, make a double chin, don't poke out in front as he goes through his exercise. So just because you're working on a rotary stability exercise doesn't mean that you can't control extension at the same time. So whether it's a chop, a lift, something like these, Pallof press is great examples, you want to make sure you're controlling in multiple planes of motion.